All right, Anthony, so we get this question a lot. What are the top 5 things I should be asking a realtor, right? So what would you say number 1 is?
What kind of market insights or trends are available for me?
Market insights and trends, super important. What would you say number 2 is?
The history and condition of the property, getting those disclosures, getting that information so that we know exactly the whole painted picture of what we're looking at.
So we got market insights and trends. We want to know about the house. Number 3, what would you say?
Probably the neighborhood specifications and information, school district, turnover rate, crime rate, things of that, all the information that you'd want to know about the neighborhood you're going to move into.
So we want to know general market insights. We want to know about the house itself, and we want to know about the neighborhood. What would you say number 4?
Financing options and whether or not it's affordable to actually purchase that home. We want to make sure that we're not over increasing our budget and also staying within our means, but getting the home we want.
Okay, so we got how am I going to finance the property that we found within the community that we want to live in. What would you say number 5 is?
Kind of negotiations and how we're going to offer. What's the strategy behind how we're going to offer, what we need to offer. And a lot of that starts with your realtor knowing those steps and communicating them to you thoroughly.
That's negotiation and offer strategy, which in some ways is market trends just on a transactional basis. What would be some specific questions within market insights and trends you would ask the realtor?
You want to start with what do the current market conditions look like? What's sold on the market recently? What's listed on the market? What does the market reject? What's expired? What hasn't sold? And then also what it might take to win.
If you're in Southeast Michigan, we do those market stats every week.
Yeah.
so check out those videos.
Yes.
Number 2, what would you say another question you'd ask around market insights and trends?
How long do they typically stay on the market in certain neighborhoods so that if we've got to accelerate this process, it might not just be when I have a day off, we'll go look. We might have to make that time because that home might not be there when the time comes.
And if you're in Southeast Michigan, we do those market stats, so check those videos out for that information also. Now, property history and condition. We're looking at the specific house. Anthony, you're the buyer. You call me. You say you're interested in this property. What type of questions should you as the buyer be asking me as the realtor?
So for property history and condition, we're really looking at seller's disclosure documentation.
Yeah.
We want to walk through and see what is included in that sale, what's not included in that sale.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of exclusions or property rights? You want to make sure that you have mineral rights or not. Do you have flood insurance or not? All this information will be disclosed from the seller, but that's information we want to know before we cater our offer.
What renovations did they do too? One of the things that buyers underappreciate is they fall for shiny objects, right? Oh, the kitchen, the bath. How old's the roof? How old's the furnace? How old's the windows, right? The reality is these items actually add up to be way more expensive than doing a kitchen is, but they're kind of like hidden costs. What about neighborhood information? When I say, hey, Anthony, you should be asking your realtor about neighborhood information, what specific questions should you be asking your realtor?
Well, if you have children, and again, even if you don't, you plan on having kids, we definitely want to know what school districts service in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
We're looking at crime rate in the neighborhood. We're looking at accessibility to public transportation, or bikeability is also a big thing for a lot of younger couples. Is there the opportunity to move around? We're also looking at other specifics, maybe how quickly the home's turning over. We can look at previous sales to see how quickly the equity is building in that neighborhood as well, to make sure that you're also getting in a positive situation.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something that like backs the woods or something, are those permanent woods or are those currently woods? We had an agent recently interview for our sales team. The woods that he bought that backed up to is now being developed for a car dealership. A little different than the woods he bought behind. Is that property I'm backing to, is that going to be something that's going to be redeveloped, or is there big developments in there? That stuff matters. And when it comes to school district, as an agent, I can't say XYZ school district is great. What I can do is point you to the information or a site to find that information. I just can't comment on it. How about financing and affordability? So around financing, what questions would you ask?
First and foremost, if you don't already have a pre-approval letter in hand, you haven't already been having that discussion with a lender. First and foremost, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, do you have a vetted high quality lender that you can provide for me to have that conversation with to see what we can get approved for?
Why would it make sense to ask your realtor for a lender information?
We also have great partnerships with our lenders, so I tend to do a lot of repeat business with these lenders. The reason I do that, just like they call me as well, is we want that high quality service to be reciprocated for the client on both ends of the transaction.
Yeah, and when you're in the business, like we're in the business, we know who the best are. So you know who are highly successful and you know who aren't. What other questions would you ask about financing and affordability?
You want to make sure that you have that discussion with your realtor in advance about realistically what you want your monthly payment options to look like, what you're comfortable with. Then when you start looking at the characteristics of what you want in the home, the neighborhoods that you want to go in, all of these should be kind of synchronizing together and working together.
Sometimes like specific markets have specific financing that are kind of a benefit. Like if you're in a rural development area, for instance, rural development loans like a really great loan. So specific markets can have specific programs. It's definitely something I'll connect with your realtor and your lender about. All right, Anthony. So number 5 was negotiation and offer strategy. What would be some questions with you as the buyer would you ask your realtor?
Well, I think first and foremost, you're going to want to know, once you've made the decision, this is the home that we want to transact on. Am I the only person currently offering on this property? I have competition. Then you can kind of base the next few steps on if there is competition, or even if there isn't, could you reach out to the other side? Figure out exactly what that seller might need. Is price the most important thing? Yeah. Maybe they have a situation where they need to move into the next home before the school year, so we have a time frame conflict that we want to overcome. It's about really educating yourself by asking the realtor the right kind of questions to be able to know exactly what you need to do in order to put the best offer forward that gets under contract and wins in a highly competitive market with low inventory right now.
It's more important than just about ever that your realtor really understand what your financial picture looks like. And not only your financial picture, but what are you willing to do and not do within that, right? Are you sitting on $100,000 extra that you could put towards a house in terms of an appraisal guarantee or over ask? Like you said, in terms of timelines, are you able to provide sellers that can rent back for free for an extended period of time, right? So understanding what's happening in your market and what it's taking to win for the property is critically important. Offer strategy's never been more important. There are so many things here in Southeast Michigan that you can offer to the sell side to make your offer more attractive that goes not just to sale price, and a really, really good realtor will be able to coach you through those things. I always say to our agents that we're educating, always ask the listing agent, what is important to the seller besides price? Maybe it's they don't want to deal with the amount of crap that they have in their house and they would love for the buyer to deal with it, right? So there's so many ways in which to structure an offer to make it most convenient for the seller. It doesn't always boil down to strictly just price.
If you're the seller as well and you have to buy on the other side of the transaction, the other part of that strategy then becomes, do I have enough capital to make that purchase in advance of selling my property? Is this a contingent offer that I would have to write? So then maybe we go back to the conversation about a bridge loan so that you can stay highly competitive, get your home sold. So there's many different layers here about negotiation.
Which is the financing of number 4, right? Yeah. So bridge loans and that sort of product. So what I would recommend is here at the Delia Group, we give people up to a 12-month customized land for you to sell your home if that's what you're looking to do. And on the buy side, it might take a few at-bats to really understand what the market and where you're looking. So go ahead and reach out. Love to connect you with a great agent like Anthony on either the buy or sell side. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.